The lavender perfume hit her first, then the hand on her shoulder, then the words that would change everything. Becca Morrison was 8 months pregnant, standing at the top of a hospital stairwell, about to discover that the man she married wasn't who she thought he was, that his father, a billionaire, had already decided she needed to disappear, and that the woman wearing that expensive perfume, she was there to make sure Becca understood exactly what refusing a Morrison would cost. What happened next lasted only seconds. A push, a fall, 12 stairs, a pregnant woman fighting to protect her baby, and a billionaire family that thought money could make murder look like an accident. But they made one mistake. They let her survive. And now Becca Morrison is about to prove that some women can't be bought, can't be broken, can't be silenced, even when they're fighting the richest, most powerful family in the city. This is the story of how a school teacher took on a billion-dollar empire and won. But before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt powerless against someone with money? Someone with connections? Someone everyone believed instead of you? If this story resonates with you, if you want to see justice win for once, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me if you've ever faced someone who thought they were untouchable. And if you want to hear more stories about ordinary people defeating extraordinary evil, subscribe, because there are so many more stories like this that need to be told. Now, let's begin at the moment everything changed. The moment Becca Morrison stopped being a victim and became a fighter. The lavender scent hit her first, expensive perfume mixing with hospital antiseptic, then Valerie's hand on her shoulder. Becca Morrison froze in the corridor. 8 months pregnant, her hand pressed against the wall for balance. The cramping had started 2 hours ago. Sharp, relentless. The baby hadn't moved right all morning. She'd texted Grant 3 times, her husband, the father of her child. Each message showed as read. No response, just that automated reply about being in an important meeting with his father. Always his father. Becca. She turned slowly. Her pregnant body made quick movements impossible. Valerie Cross stood 5 feet away. Grant's executive assistant. Perfect blonde hair, designer suit. That same lavender perfume Grant had charged $700 for at Neiman Marcus last month. The perfume Becca thought was an early Mother's Day gift. "What are you doing here?" Becca's voice came out smaller than she intended. "We need to talk about Grant." The corridor tilted. Becca pressed harder against the wall. The elevators were down for maintenance. She'd taken the parking garage elevator up to the 3rd floor. Now she needed to take the stairs down 1 level to the obstetrics wing. Dr. Rothstein was waiting. The baby needed to be checked. Everything else could wait. "Not now. I'm going to my appointment. The baby, he's leaving you." Valerie's voice was flat, professional, like she was delivering a quarterly report. "After the baby comes. His father already has the paperwork drawn up." The words slammed into Becca's chest. She couldn't breathe. The cramping intensified. Her hand moved to her swollen stomach. Protective. Instinctive. "You're lying." "Am I?" Valerie stepped closer. Her heels clicked on the linoleum. Sharp, deliberate. "Why do you think I'm here, Becca? Grant sent me to make sure you understand how this is going to go. The Morrison family takes care of their heirs, not their mistakes." "Mistakes," the word exploded out. "We're married. This is his child, our child. Theodore Morrison's grandchild. That's what matters." Valerie's expression remained neutral, cold. "You're just the incubator, a placeholder until the baby arrives. Then you'll be replaced, quietly, cleanly, with a settlement that comes with an ironclad non-disclosure agreement." Becca's mind raced. 3 years of marriage. The whirlwind courtship. Grant pursuing her relentlessly, proposing after 3 months. His father's disapproval at the wedding. Patricia Morrison's tight smile that never reached her eyes. She thought love would be enough. "I don't believe you." "You don't have to believe me." Valerie pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, turned it toward Becca. "Grant and his father discussed this 2 days ago. I was there, taking notes like I always do." The screen showed an email. Morrison Industries letterhead, legal jargon. But 3 words stood out. Dissolution of marriage. Becca's throat closed. The baby kicked. Hard, like she was fighting too. Why? The question barely made it past her lips. Why are you telling me this? Why are you here? Because Theodore Morrison doesn't leave loose ends. He wants you to understand your position. Accept the settlement. Sign the papers. Disappear without making a scene. Bad publicity would hurt the merger. Grant needs to appear stable, successful, a devoted father, not a man whose wife caused drama during a multi-billion-dollar business deal. And if I don't disappear, Valerie's expression shifted. Just for a second. Something flickered in her eyes. Fear, regret, then it was gone. Then you'll be made to disappear, one way or another. Rage flooded through Becca, hot, consuming. This woman, this stranger, standing in a hospital corridor threatening her baby, on orders from her father-in-law. She moved forward, not thinking, just reacting. She needed to get past Valerie, get to Dr. Rothstein, get help, get away. Valerie's hands shot out, not pulling back, pushing forward. Time stopped. Becca felt the pressure against her shoulder, her pregnant body already off balance. The open stairwell behind her. She'd been standing at the top, planning to walk down, one careful step at a time. Now she was falling, backward. Her hand clutched her stomach, protective, desperate. The baby, the baby, the baby. The world spun. Her head cracked against the metal railing. Pain exploded across her skull. Her hips slammed into concrete. The stairs were unforgiving. Each impact sent shockwaves through her body. 8 steps, 10, 12. She tried to curl around her stomach, tried to protect the life inside her. But gravity was relentless. Her body twisted. Her shoulder hit another stair. Her knee, her back. Then she stopped. The landing. She'd reached the landing between floors. Her body lay twisted. Wrong. Everything hurt. But the pain was distant, muffled, like she was underwater. Warm wetness spread between her legs. No, no, no. Above her, Valerie's face appeared, leaning over the railing, shocked. Her perfect makeup cracked, her mouth open. Then her expression changed, calculating, cold. She disappeared. Footsteps, running, away from Becca, not toward her, away. Becca tried to move, tried to scream. Nothing worked. Her body wouldn't respond. The pain was building now, breaking through the shock. Her stomach felt wrong, too tight, too hard. The baby wasn't moving. She managed to turn her head. Her phone lay 3 feet away. Screen cracked, but lit. Grant's last text message visible. Dad needs me. You'll be fine. The hospital intercom crackled overhead. A voice, calm, professional. Code pink, obstetrics floor, code pink. Code pink, infant or maternal emergency. They knew. Someone saw, someone called. But Becca couldn't move, couldn't scream, could only feel her baby's kicks growing weaker. Weaker. Gone. The world faded to gray. The pain was everything now, consuming, drowning. She kept her hand on her stomach. Even as consciousness slipped away, even as footsteps thundered toward her, even as voices shouted medical terms she didn't understand. Her last thought before the darkness took her was simple, clear, devastating. Grant knew. He sent her. He knew what would happen. Her husband wanted her dead. Beeping, constant, rhythmic, annoying. Becca's eyes opened slowly. White ceiling, fluorescent lights, the antiseptic smell of hospital rooms. Her hand moved to her stomach, still swollen, still pregnant. The baby. Was the baby, Becca, you're awake. Ellen Rothstein's face appeared above her, concerned, tired. Don't try to move yet. You've been through a trauma. My baby. The words came out as a croak. Becca's throat was raw. Is my baby. Your baby is stable. Strong heartbeat. You were both incredibly lucky, Mrs. Morrison. Lucky. The word tasted wrong. Bitter. Twisted. Becca's mind replayed the fall. Valerie's hand, the push, the stairs, the pain, the blood. What happened? Dr. Rothstein asked gently. She was pulling up a chair, sitting close. The nurses found you in the stairwell. You fell 12 stairs, Hit the landing. You have a concussion, bruised ribs, hip contusion. But the baby is remarkably resilient. I didn't fall. The words came automatically. Then Becca stopped. Saying it out loud made it real, made it attempted murder of her and her baby. Dr. Rothstein's eyes searched hers, intent, knowing. Becca, I've been your OB for 6 months. You're the most careful pregnant woman I've ever treated. You wouldn't take stairs with the elevators down. Not at 8 months, not alone, not without calling someone for help first. The doctor knew. Somehow she knew. I was dizzy, the cramping, I lost my balance. The lie felt heavy, wrong, but what was the truth? My husband's assistant pushed me down the stairs because my billionaire father-in-law wants me dead? No one would believe that. Your labs show elevated stress hormones, extreme stress, cortisol levels through the roof. Dr. Rothstein leaned forward. What happened before you fell? What stressed you that badly? The door burst open. Grant rushed in, his face pale, but not the paleness of grief or fear, the paleness of someone who'd been caught, who knew they were in trouble. Becca, thank God, thank God. He came to her bedside, reached for her hand. She pulled it away. Dad's on his way. He's handling everything. The hospital administrator, the insurance, everything. Handling everything, not asking if she was okay, not asking if the baby was okay, not apologizing for missing her texts, for not being there when she needed him. Handling everything. Get out. Grant stopped, blinked. What? Get out. Honey, you're upset. You had an accident, a terrible accident. But Dad's already talked to the hospital administrator. Everything's being taken care of. Your room, the bills, the investigation, everything. Investigation. There was going to be an investigation. Of course there was. Someone fell down hospital stairs. Pregnant. Critical condition. The hospital would investigate. Look at footage. Interview witnesses. Unless someone with money and power made it all go away. Where's Valerie? The question escaped before Becca could stop it. Grant went completely still, his hand frozen halfway to her bedside table. His expression shuddered. Why would you ask about my assistant? She was here, at the hospital, right before I fell. No, she wasn't. The response came too fast and too practiced. She's at the office. She's been in meetings all afternoon, with me and Dad. She hasn't left the building. Liar. Becca could see it in his eyes, the way he looked past her. Not at her, the way his jaw tightened, the way his legs started bouncing. Nervous energy, guilty energy. Dr. Rothstein cleared her throat. Mr. Morrison, your wife needs rest. Perhaps you should... Of course. Of course. Grant didn't move. He pulled out his phone instead, started typing. I'll sit here, quietly, let you rest. He sat in the chair by the window, legs bouncing, fingers flying across his phone screen. Every few seconds, he glanced at Becca, then away, then back. He knows. He knows what Valerie did. He knows his assistant pushed his pregnant wife down the stairs. And he's covering it up. The realization crashed over Becca like cold water. This wasn't a marriage anymore. This was survival. Her against Grant. Her against Theodore Morrison. Her against a billionaire family that made problems disappear. And she'd just become their biggest problem. The baby kicked. Strong, live, fighting. Becca put her hand on her stomach. A promise. Silent but absolute. I will protect you. No matter what it costs, no matter who I have to fight, you will be safe. I want to see the security footage, she said quietly, from the stairwell. Grant's fingers froze on his phone. Why would you need to see? Because I want to know what happened, don't you? You fell. You said so yourself. I want to see it anyway. Dr. Rothstein looked between them, understanding dawning on her face. The hospital keeps footage for 72 hours before archiving. I can request access for medical purposes. Patient safety review. It's standard protocol after an incident like this. No need, Grant stood abruptly. Dad already requested the footage for insurance purposes. Legal liability. The hospital's fault for having the elevators down during business hours. They should have posted signs, should have had someone monitoring the stairs. It's negligence, clear negligence. Of course Theodore had already gotten the footage. Of course he had. A man like that didn't leave evidence lying around. He controlled it, shaped it, made it say whatever he needed it to say. When did your father request the footage? Becca asked. When did he even know I was here? Grant's mouth opened, closed. He looked at his phone. I called him as soon as the hospital called me. When did the hospital call you? I don't, around 1:30, maybe 2. I fell at 12:45. The Rothstein's voice was quiet, clinical. I know because I was expecting Mrs. Morrison for her 1 o'clock appointment. When she didn't arrive, I called her cell. It went to voicemail. At 12:50, the code was called. At 12:55, we found her. The math was simple. The hospital called Grant maybe an hour after Becca fell, but Theodore had already requested the security footage, had already talked to the hospital administrator, had already started controlling the narrative. How did he know to do that before Grant even told him? Unless he already knew Becca was going to fall. Unless the whole thing was planned. Becca's hands started shaking. The baby kicked again, harder this time, urgent, like she was trying to tell her mother to wake up, to see the truth, to fight. I'm tired, Becca said. I need to rest. Alone. I'll stay, in case you need. Alone, Grant. I want to be alone. For a moment, his face crumpled. He looked lost, scared, like a little boy who knew he'd done something unforgivable. Then the expression vanished, replaced by smooth neutrality, his father's expression. Of course. I'll be right outside if you need me. He left. Dr. Rothstein stayed. The doctor waited until the door closed. Then she moved closer. Her voice dropped to barely above a whisper. Becca, I need to tell you something I shouldn't tell you, but something you need to know. What? Your injuries don't match a simple fall. The pattern is wrong. The bruising is wrong. Everything is wrong. What do you mean? Dr. Rothstein pulled out her tablet, swiped through screens, pulled up photos, medical photos of Becca's back, her shoulder blade, a perfect handprint, purple, distinct, 5 fingers, a palm, clear as day. Someone pushed you, hard enough to leave marks, hard enough to send you down those stairs. Dr. Rothstein's expression was fierce, protective. I documented everything, photographed everything, and I'm noting it in your medical records as injuries inconsistent with patient's account. That's the language we use when we suspect domestic violence, or assault, or something worse. Becca stared at the handprint. Evidence, proof. Valerie had pushed her, and now there was medical documentation of it. The Morrison family paid for the wing we're in, she whispered. They donate millions to this hospital. They have power here. They have money. That's not the same as power. Dr. Rothstein's voice was steel. I've been a doctor for 20 years. I take an oath to protect my patients, to do no harm, to tell the truth. Money doesn't change that. Let me protect you, Becca. Let me help you. For the first time since the fall, Becca cried. Not from pain, not from fear, from relief. Because someone believed her. Someone saw the truth. Someone was willing to fight. Thank you, she managed. Thank you. Dr. Rothstein squeezed her hand. Rest now. Build your strength. You're going to need it. Because families like the Morrisons don't let go easily. They don't lose gracefully. And they've already shown they're willing to hurt you to get what they want. The doctor left. Becca was alone. The beeping of the monitors, the hum of the IV, the distant sounds of hospital life beyond her closed door. She looked at her phone. Grant's last text was still there. Dad needs me. You'll be fine. She wasn't fine. Her baby almost died. She almost died. And her husband knew it was going to happen. The door opened again. Becca tensed, ready to tell Grant to leave, to get out, to never come back. But it wasn't Grant. Theodore Morrison stood in the doorway, 62 years old. Silver hair, expensive suit, the smell of old money and older power. He carried flowers, expensive, imported, completely scentless. Rebecca. His voice was smooth, cultured, kind. I'm so relieved to see you're all right. And the baby. Grant told me the baby is strong, resilient, just like her grandmother, Patricia. He was already calling the baby her, already claiming ownership, already planning a future that didn't include Becca in it. These things happen, Theodore continued. He set the flowers on the table, never asked permission, just placed them like he owned the space, like he owned everything. Pregnancy makes women unstable, dizzy, hormonal. You must be more careful, Rebecca. For the baby's sake. He patted her hand. His skin was cool, dry. The touch made her skin crawl. Grant mentioned you were asking about security footage. No need to embarrass yourself. The hospital confirmed equipment malfunction in that stairwell. The camera wasn't recording. No footage exists. Just an unfortunate gap in coverage. These things happen in older buildings. That's very convenient. Theodore's smile never reached his eyes. Isn't it? Modern technology. So reliable until it isn't. But don't worry, the hospital is taking full responsibility, updating their systems, ensuring it never happens again. They're very concerned about liability. Very motivated to resolve this quietly. Quietly. Make it go away. Bury it. Like it never happened. I fell because someone pushed me. The words hung in the air. Bold. Dangerous. True. Theodore's expression didn't change. That's the concussion talking. Head trauma can cause confusion, false memories. The doctors warned Grant you might say strange things. It's normal after a fall like this. Nothing to worry about. He was already building the narrative, already explaining away her truth, already making her sound crazy. We'll discuss your future after the baby arrives, Theodore said, his tone casual, friendly, threatening. Grant needs to focus on the merger. Morrison Industries is at a critical juncture. This drama isn't helpful. You understand. Drama. Her attempted murder was drama, an inconvenience, a distraction from business. Rest now. Theodore moved toward the door, paused. And Rebecca, stop asking about security footage. Stop making wild accusations. Stop causing problems. For your sake and the baby's. We're family. Family takes care of each other, as long as everyone remembers their place. He left. Becca lay in the hospital bed, her baby moving inside her body aching, her mind racing. She'd married into a family that tried to kill her for her. That would kill her if she didn't disappear quietly. That had the money and power to make murder look like an accident. But they'd made one mistake. They'd let her live. And now she knew the truth. Now she could fight back. The baby kicked, strong, determined, a fighter like her mother. Becca smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a woman who just declared war. We're going to survive this, she whispered to her daughter. And then we're going to make them pay. 72 hours. That's how long they kept Becca in the hospital. For observation, for monitoring, for making sure the baby was stable. Grant visited twice, 15 minutes each time. He sat in the chair by the window, scrolled through his phone, made awkward small talk about weather and hospital food. Never met her eyes for longer than a second. Dad thinks you should come stay at the estate when you're released, he said during his second visit. Mom can help. We have a full staff, a nurse on call, everything you need to recover. Everything they needed to control her. I'm not going to your parents' house. It's our house, too. We live in the West Wing, you know that. They'd lived there for 6 months after the wedding. 6 months of Patricia's passive-aggressive comments about decorating choices. 6 months of Theodore's cold assessments at breakfast. 6 months of feeling like a servant in someone else's mansion. Becca had insisted they get their own place. Grant had agreed. They'd moved into a modest house 20 minutes away. Modest by Morrison standards. 1,500 square feet instead of 15,000. Theodore had called it a phase. I'll stay with Jenna. Your friend, the nurse? Becca, that's ridiculous. She lives in a tiny apartment. You need space, comfort, care. I need to not be under your father's roof. Grant flinched. He's trying to help. We're all trying to help. Why are you being so difficult? Difficult. She was being difficult. Not fighting for her life. not protecting her baby, just difficult. Leave, Grant. We need to talk about leave now. He left. Theodore visited once more, brought more flowers, more smooth words, more subtle threats wrapped in concern. Rebecca, we're worried about you, your mental state, the pregnancy hormones, the trauma. Grant mentioned you were refusing to stay somewhere safe, somewhere we can keep an eye on you. That's concerning. I'm fine. Are you? You're making accusations, refusing help, isolating yourself. These are signs of pregnancy psychosis. Postpartum depression can start before birth. We want to get you evaluated, a psychiatrist, someone who specializes in maternal mental health, a psychiatrist who would declare her unstable, who would document her paranoia, who would build a case for taking her baby away. I don't need a psychiatrist. That's exactly what someone who needs one would say. Theodore smiled, paternal, concerned, calculating. We'll discuss it after you're released, after you've had time to think clearly. Rest now. After he left, Becca stared at the ceiling, her mind racing through scenarios, outcomes, possibilities. They were building a case. Unstable mother, pregnancy psychosis, danger to herself and the baby. They'd take Emma as soon as she was born. Grant would get full custody. Theodore would raise his granddaughter, mold her, control her, turn her into another Morrison heir. Becca would be erased, paid off, disappeared, unless she fought back. The door opened. Becca tensed, ready for another Morrison visit, another threat disguised as concern. But it was Dr. Rothstein, and she wasn't alone. A woman stood behind her, late 20s, scrubs, auburn hair pulled back, familiar face. It took Becca a moment to place her. Jenna, her best friend from college, rushed to her bedside. Oh my God, I just heard. I work at Presbyterian across town. I didn't know you were here until Ellen called me. Dr. Rothstein nodded. I asked Jenna to come. You need people on your side, people who can't be bought. Jenna grabbed Becca's hand. Tell me everything. Everything. Don't leave anything out. So Becca did. The whole story. Valerie in the corridor. The threats. The push. The fall. Grant's lies. Theodore's cover-up. The disappeared security footage. The psychiatric evaluation threats. Jenna listened. Her expression grew darker with each word. When Becca finished, Jenna pulled out her phone. What are you doing? Texting my cousin Sarah. She's a detective. She needs to hear this. Jenna, the Morrisons have connections, friends in every department, money everywhere. A detective can't. Sarah can't be bought, trust me. She has her own reasons to hate rich men who think they can get away with anything. Jenna typed rapidly. Hit send, put her phone down. You're staying with me when you're released. I don't care what Grant says, what his father says. You're staying somewhere safe, somewhere they can't control. Your apartment is tiny. So I have a pull-out couch, a deadbolt, and a building full of nosy nurses who notice everything. It's safer than a mansion full of Morrisons. The relief was overwhelming. Someone believed her. Someone was helping. Someone was fighting for her. Thank you, Becca whispered. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when we've buried these bastards. That night, Becca couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every footstep in the corridor outside her room felt like a threat. The baby was active, kicking constantly, like she was restless too, like she knew they were in danger. At 2 a.m, Becca's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, almost let it go to voicemail. But something made her pick up. Hello? Silence, then breathing, then a voice, female, shaking, terrified. Mrs. Morrison, this is Valerie Cross. I need to meet with you, alone, before Theodore finds out I called. Because he didn't just want you dead. He's planning to kill me, too. The line went dead. Becca stared at her phone, her heart racing, the baby doing somersaults inside her. Valerie wanted to meet, the woman who pushed her down the stairs, the woman who nearly killed her baby. Wanted to talk. This was either a trap or an opportunity. Either way, Becca had to take it. Detective Sarah Brennan arrived at 7 a.m. She wasn't in uniform, jeans and a leather jacket, off duty, which meant this was personal, which meant Jenna had told her everything. Sarah was 38, Weathered face, sharp eyes, the kind of eyes that had seen too much and stopped being surprised by human cruelty. She pulled up a chair next to Becca's hospital bed. Jenna told me what happened. I can't officially investigate. Morrison General is outside my jurisdiction, and the Morrisons have friends in every department, but I can ask questions, unofficially. Why would you risk that? Sarah's jaw tightened. Because 16 years ago, another woman fell downstairs after confronting a rich man's mistress. Case was closed in 2 days. Ruled an accident. That woman was my sister. She was 6 months pregnant. Her baby didn't make it. The air went cold. I was a rookie then. Didn't know how power worked. Didn't know how much money could buy. Didn't know that justice isn't blind, it's just expensive. Sarah leaned forward. I couldn't prove it then, but I know now. I know how to build a case, how to document evidence, how to make it stick. And I'm not letting it happen again. Becca told her everything, every detail. The lavender perfume, Valerie's exact words, the calculating look after the push, Grant's lies, Theodore's threats. Sarah took notes, asked questions, dug deeper. Lavender perfume, specific brand? I don't know the brand, but it was expensive. $700. Grant bought it at Neiman Marcus last month. The charge showed up on our joint credit card. I thought it was for me, for Mother's Day. He said it was a client gift. So he's been buying expensive gifts for his assistant. That establishes a relationship beyond professional. Sarah made a note. What else? Phone records? Texts? Emails? He texts her constantly, but he has her saved as VK in his contacts. Valerie K. Cross, her middle name. I thought it was a vendor contact. Someone he did business with. Smart. Gives him plausible deniability. If you confronted him, he could say you're paranoid, reading too much into professional communication. Sarah's pen moved across her notepad, rapid, efficient. What about Theodore? How involved is he with Valerie? I don't know, but Grant never makes decisions without his father's approval. Never. If he's having an affair, Theodore either knows or planned it. Planned it. Sarah stopped writing. Looked up. Why would Theodore plan his son's affair? Becca thought about it, the pieces clicking together. There's a merger, Morrison Industries with some European conglomerate. Grant's been stressed about it for months. Says his father is counting on him to finalize it. It's worth billions. And a messy divorce would derail that. Bad publicity, unstable heir, concerned business partners. Sarah's voice went hard. But a widowed young father with a tragic story about losing his wife in an accident? That's sympathetic. That's marketable. That makes him look human, vulnerable, trustworthy. The implications settled like ice in Becca's stomach. You think they planned my death? I think Valerie pushed you down those stairs expecting a different outcome. I think when you survived, Theodore went into damage control, made evidence disappear, started building a narrative about your instability, started planning how to take your baby and make you disappear anyway. Sarah's expression was fierce. That medical evidence Dr. Rothstein documented, that handprint, that's the only thing keeping you alive right now because it's documented. Official, hard to make disappear. It would raise too many questions if something happened to you now. Becca's hands shook. She pressed them against her stomach. The baby kicked back, strong, alive, fighting. What do I do? You get a lawyer, not a normal lawyer, someone who specializes in taking down rich predators, someone Theodore can't intimidate. Sarah pulled out her phone, scrolled through contacts. I know someone, Marcus Williams, former prosecutor, left the DA's office when he realized justice meant whoever paid the most. Now he destroys powerful people for a living, and he's very good at it. I can't afford someone like that. You won't have to. Marcus takes cases like this pro bono when they interest him. And trust me, a pregnant teacher against a billionaire family, this will interest him. Sarah made a call, brief conversation, hung up. He'll be here in an hour. In the meantime, you need to think about where you'll go when you're released. Grant's already talking about you staying at the estate. You absolutely cannot do that. I'm staying with Jenna. Good. But we need to make that official, documented. So the Morrisons can't claim you're unstable, homeless, unable to care for yourself or the baby. Sarah made more notes. We'll have Marcus file paperwork today. Establish your residence, your support system, your stability. Beat them at their own game. Grant's my husband. He has rights. To the baby. To custody. What if he sent his mistress to threaten you? That threat resulted in you being pushed downstairs. That's conspiracy to commit assault, possibly attempted murder. A good lawyer will shred his parental rights. Sarah's smile was cold. By the time we're done, Grant Morrison will be lucky if he gets supervised visitation. And Theodore, he's going to wish he'd left you alone. 3 hours later, Marcus Williams sat in Becca's hospital room. He was 42, tall, former college football player gone slightly soft, but his eyes were sharp, his mind sharper. He reviewed the medical records, Dr. Rothstein's photographs, Sarah's notes, Becca's statement. This is attempted murder, he said. Clear, documented, provable. Theodore Morrison orchestrated it. Valerie Cross executed it. Grant Morrison covered it up. You have evidence, witnesses, medical documentation. We can bury them. They have money. Money isn't magic. It's a tool. And I know how to break tools. Marcus leaned back, confident, certain. Here's what's going to happen. Theodore's lawyers filed for emergency custody this morning, claiming you're unstable, a danger to yourself and the baby. The hearing is in 48 hours. What? They can't. They can. They did. But we're going to counter. File protective orders against Valerie Cross, against Theodore Morrison. Document the assault. Document the threats. Document everything. We're going to show the judge exactly who the real danger is. Will it work? It will if we're aggressive, if we're smart, if we don't let them control the narrative. Marcus pulled out paperwork. I need you to sign these. Authorization for me to represent you. Permission to access medical records. Statement of facts. By end of day today, we'll have our filings ready. By tomorrow, Theodore Morrison will realize he picked a fight with the wrong woman. Becca signed everything. As Marcus left, Sarah stayed behind. One more thing. Valerie called you last night, said she wants to meet. How did you know? I didn't, but I hope she would. She's the weak link. The one Theodore can't fully control. Because she's not family. She's an employee, and employees can be replaced. Sarah pulled out a small device. If you meet with her, wear this. It's a recording device. Looks like a pendant. My sister wore one. The recording it made wasn't admissible in court. Rich lawyers got it thrown out. But this time will be different. This time we'll do it right. What if it's a trap? What if she's trying to hurt me again? Then I'll be there. Jenna will be there. We'll meet somewhere public. Somewhere with cameras. Somewhere safe. Sarah's expression softened. I know you're scared. You should be, but fear is a tool too. It makes you careful. Makes you smart. Use it. That afternoon, Becca texted Valerie from an unknown number Sarah provided. I'll meet you tomorrow. 10 in the morning, the coffee shop across from the hospital. Public place. I bring people. You come alone. If you try anything, I call the police. The response came immediately. Agreed, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to survive. Just like you. Theodore Morrison destroys everything he touches. We're both just collateral damage in his plans. But we don't have to be. We can fight back. Together. Becca stared at the message. The woman who pushed her downstairs wanted to be allies. Wanted to fight Theodore together. It was insane. Impossible. It was also the only chance either of them had. The coffee shop was busy. Late morning crowd. Business people grabbing caffeine between meetings. Students hunched over laptops. The perfect cover. Becca sat at a corner table, her back to the wall. She could see the entrance. The exits. Everyone who came in or out. Jenna sat 3 tables away, reading a magazine. Not looking at Becca, but clearly watching. Detective Sarah sat at the counter, sipping coffee, her eyes scanning the room constantly. The pendant around Becca's neck felt heavy, recording everything. Sarah's sister's necklace. The one that had captured another rich man's confession. The one that hadn't been enough 16 years ago. It had to be enough now. Valerie arrived at 10 o'clock exactly. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes. Her makeup couldn't quite hide them. Her designer suit looked slept in. Her hair wasn't perfectly styled. She was falling apart. Good. She sat down across from Becca. No coffee, no pleasantries, just terror poorly concealed. Thank you for meeting me. Why should I believe anything you say? Becca kept her voice low, steady. You pushed me downstairs. You tried to kill me and my baby. I tried to scare you. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, nearly dying feels pretty similar to actually dying. Valerie flinched. You're right. You're absolutely right. What I did was unforgivable. I know that. But I need you to understand. Theodore Morrison threatened my mother. Your mother? She's in a nursing home. Memory care? Advanced Alzheimer's? She doesn't remember me most days. But she's safe, comfortable. The facility costs $11,000 a month. Theodore pays for it, has for 3 years. When he told me to handle you, he made it very clear. If I didn't do what he wanted, my mother would be moved to a state facility. Do you know what those places are like? Becca knew. She'd volunteered at one during college. Understaffed, underfunded, patients left in soiled clothes for hours, bed sores, neglect, death. So you tried to kill me to keep your mother in a nice nursing home? I tried to scare you. Valerie's voice rose. She caught herself, lowered it. Theodore said you needed to understand the situation, needed to accept the settlement, sign the papers, disappear quietly. He said if you wouldn't listen to reason, you'd listen to fear. He told me to make you afraid, to show you what refusing the Morrisons would cost. And pushing me downstairs was just making me afraid? I was supposed to threaten you, show you I knew where you'd be, show you how close I could get, make you realize you weren't safe, that your baby wasn't safe, that resisting was pointless. Valerie's hands shook around her empty coffee cup. But you got angry. You moved toward me. I panicked. I pushed you back. You lost your balance. And then you were falling. And I realized, oh God, I realized what I'd done. You ran. I ran. I called Theodore, told him what happened, told him you fell, that it was an accident, that I didn't mean for you to actually fall. Valerie's voice broke. He said, good. He said, if you died, my problems were solved. His problems were solved. Everyone's problems were solved. The words hung in the air. Cold, brutal, true. And when I didn't die, he blamed me, said I was sloppy, said the medical evidence was my fault, said I should have been more careful, more subtle. Valerie was crying now, mascara running. Then he said my mother's nursing home was scheduled for a surprise inspection. Code violations. She'd have to be moved. Unless I fix things. Fix things how? Testified against you in the custody hearing. Said you were unstable. That you threatened me. That you tried to throw yourself down the stairs for attention. For sympathy. To make Grant look bad. Valerie pulled papers from her purse. He had his lawyers write a whole script. Made me memorize it. Practice it. If I don't perform perfectly, my mother gets moved. And then he'll make sure I have an accident too. Why would he kill you? You did what he wanted. Did I? I failed. You survived. Now you're fighting back, hiring lawyers. That medical evidence exists. I'm a liability. A witness who knows too much. A problem that needs to be solved. Valerie pushed the papers across the table. Look, read it. Theodore's script for me. Every word I'm supposed to say. Every question I'm supposed to answer. It's all lies. All of it. But if I don't say it, I'm dead. Becca looked at the papers. Legal letterhead, Morrison Industries, a script, detailed, specific, designed to paint Becca as an unstable woman who hurt herself for attention. It was brilliant, sick, effective. Why are you telling me this? Why not just do what he says? Because last night Theodore visited me, brought champagne, expensive, celebratory, said after the custody hearing, after the divorce, Grant and I could be together, officially, publicly. We'd be the power couple Morrison Industries needs. I'd have everything I ever wanted. Valerie laughed. bitter, broken. I believed him for about 5 minutes. Then I got curious, started Googling. Theodore's previous assistants to Grant, women who got close to Grant, who became problems. And 3 before me, all young, all ambitious, all beautiful. One died in a car accident 6 months after she threatened to expose financial fraud at Morrison Industries. And another moved to Singapore suddenly. No forwarding address, no social media, just gone. The third is in a psychiatric facility upstate, catatonic, unresponsive, been there for 2 years. Valerie's eyes were haunted. They all got close to Grant. They all became inconvenient. Theodore solved them. The pattern was clear, systematic, horrifying. He's going to kill you. After I testify, after I help him take your baby, after I'm no longer useful, he'll make it look like suicide. Mistress overwhelmed by guilt. Everyone will believe it. Everyone will move on. And Grant will marry whoever Theodore picks next, someone more controllable, more expendable. Becca studied Valerie, looking for lies, for manipulation, for another trap. All she saw was terror. What do you want from me? I want to testify against Theodore, against Grant. The threats, the plan, everything. Valerie's voice was desperate, pleading, but I need protection for me and my mother, real protection, because Theodore Morrison makes people disappear, and I don't want to disappear. Detective Sarah moved from the counter to their table. Everything you just said, I recorded it. With your permission, it's evidence, admissible, powerful. Valerie jumped. Who are you? Detective Sarah Brennan. And I've been waiting 16 years to take down a man like Theodore Morrison. Congratulations. You just gave me the ammunition I needed. But my mother, Theodore will move her today. New facility, new name, complete security. Theodore won't be able to touch her. Sarah sat down. But you need to be prepared. This isn't going to be easy. Theodore has lawyers, money, power. He'll come after you hard. He'll try to discredit you, destroy you, make you look crazy. I am crazy. I pushed a pregnant woman downstairs because a billionaire threatened my mother. That's the definition of crazy. No, that's the definition of desperate. Becca heard herself speak, surprised by her own voice. I should hate you. You almost killed me, killed my baby. But all I see is another victim, another woman Theodore Morrison used and discarded, another piece in his game. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I'm not forgiving you. I'm saying I understand. Fear makes us do terrible things, but what matters now is what we do next. We can let Theodore destroy us both, or we can fight back, together. Valerie looked at her, really looked at her. Why would you trust me? I don't, but I trust that you want to survive, that you want your mother safe, that you want Theodore Morrison to pay for what he's done. And right now, that's enough. Marcus Williams appeared at the table. He'd been watching from outside, waiting for the right moment. Ladies, we need to move fast. Theodore's lawyers are filing motions as we speak, trying to get the custody hearing moved up, trying to get protective orders against Becca, trying to control the narrative. He looked at Valerie. If you're serious about testifying, I need a formal statement. Today, now, everything you know, everything Theodore told you, everything Grant knows, all of it. And my mother? Will be moved within the hour. I have a team standing by. She'll be safe. You have my word. Valerie nodded, shaky, uncertain, but determined. Okay, I'll tell you everything. As they stood to leave, Becca felt the baby kick, strong, insistent, alive. They were going to war against a billionaire, against his lawyers, against his power and money and influence. But they weren't alone anymore. They had evidence, testimony, allies who couldn't be bought. They had a chance, and sometimes a chance was enough. Becca was released from the hospital the next morning. Dr. Rothstein signed the discharge papers personally. You're cleared physically. But Becca, be careful. The Morrison family has already called the hospital board twice, demanding I retract my medical notes. I refused. But I'm one doctor. They're billionaires with unlimited resources. I know. Thank you for everything. Save your thanks. Help me take them down. People like the Morrisons think medicine is like everything else. Buyable, controllable. Show them it's not. Jenna pulled up in her 10-year-old Honda. Becca climbed in. The passenger seat was worn, comfortable, real. So different from Grant's Mercedes with its leather seats and new car smell and constant reminder of Morrison money. Marcus sat in the back, laptop open, already working. Theodore's lawyers filed for emergency custody this morning. Hearing is tomorrow at 2. Judge Harold Stevenson presiding. He's fair, can't be bought. But he's also conservative, traditional. He'll want to see stability, support systems, evidence you can provide for your child. I'm a school teacher. I make $48,000 a year. Grant makes 7 figures. How do I prove I can provide better than the Morrisons? You don't prove you can provide more money. You prove you're the safer parent, the better parent, the one who won't use her child as a pawn in business deals, the one who won't let a sociopath control her child's life. Marcus pulled up documents. Valerie gave us everything: detailed statement, recorded confession, Theodore's script for her testimony. It's enough to show pattern of behavior, conspiracy, intent to harm. Will the judge allow it? If we present it right, if we show how it all connects. Theodore wanted you gone. Valerie was his weapon. Grant was complicit. It's conspiracy to commit assault at minimum. Attempted murder if we push it. Either way, it shows the Morrisons are dangerous to you and your baby. They pulled into Jenna's apartment complex, 3rd floor, corner unit, 2 bedrooms, 1,200 square feet, tiny by Morrison standards, paradise by Becca's current standards. Inside, Jenna had prepared everything. The spare bedroom set up with fresh sheets, baby supplies already stocked, diapers, wipes, bottles, a bassinet in the corner. You don't have a baby yet, Becca said. I will, in 3 weeks if the baby comes on time. Earlier if she decides she's done cooking. I want it to be ready. Jenna smiled. Besides, shopping for baby stuff is way more fun than shopping for anything else. Those tiny socks? Adorable. Becca sat on the bed. The exhaustion hit all at once. Physical, emotional, overwhelming. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. Fight a billionaire. Protect my baby. Survive this. You don't have to know. You just have to keep breathing. One breath at a time. We'll figure out the rest as we go. Jenna sat beside her. You fought your whole life. Foster care. Working your way through college. Building a career. Finding Grant and thinking you'd finally found safety. But you know what? You never needed Grant to be safe. You were always the strong one. You just forgot for a while. I married him because I was tired of fighting, tired of being alone, tired of struggling. He represented stability, security, family. He represented the fantasy of security. But real security doesn't come from marrying rich. It comes from knowing you can survive anything. And you can. You have. Jenna squeezed her hand. Now you just need to remember that. That night, Becca lay in the unfamiliar bed, the baby moving restlessly inside her. She couldn't sleep. Every sound felt like a threat. Every car passing below felt like the Morrisons coming for her. At 2 in the morning, she gave up. Got up, went to the bathroom, sat in the bathtub, fully clothed, turned on the water, let it run over her. Cold at first, then warming, the sound drowning out her thoughts, her fears, her desperate need to scream. She sat there, hand on her swollen stomach, feeling the baby kick, alive, fighting. She'd fought her whole life, foster homes where she wasn't wanted, schools where she didn't fit, poverty that made every day a struggle. She'd survived it all, built a life, became a teacher, found purpose. Then Grant happened and he'd pursued her, charmed her, made her believe in fairy tales and happy endings and family. It was all a lie. The whirlwind romance was calculated. The proposal was scripted. The marriage was Theodore's attempt to give his son respectability, a wholesome wife, a normal family, the illusion of stability for business partners and shareholders. Becca was just a prop, easily replaceable. Except she got pregnant. That complicated things. Theodore wanted his grandchild, his heir, but he didn't want Becca, so he tried to remove her. Planned it, executed it, failed. Now she was the variable he couldn't control. The problem that wouldn't disappear, the woman who had evidence and allies and the audacity to fight back. The bathroom door creaked open. Jenna slid down to sit on the floor beside the tub. Didn't say anything. Didn't ask questions, just sat. I'm scared, Becca admitted. So scared I can barely think, but I can't show it. Can't let them see it. Because if they know I'm scared, they'll use it against me, prove I'm unstable, unfit, dangerous. Being scared doesn't make you unstable. It makes you human. The difference between you and them, you're scared because you love your baby. They're never scared because they don't love anyone but themselves. They sat in silence, water running, baby kicking, world ending and beginning at the same time. Becca's phone buzzed, 3 in the morning, unknown number. She almost didn't look, almost threw the phone across the room. But she looked, a text message, one line, no signature. Grant knows about Valerie talking. He told his father, they're moving up the custody hearing. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. They're coming for you and they're not playing fair anymore. No name. But Becca knew who sent it. Someone inside the Morrison organization. Someone who'd seen enough. Someone who wanted out. She forwarded the message to Marcus, to Sarah, to everyone on her team. The response came immediately from Marcus. We'll be ready, get some sleep, tomorrow we fight. But Becca couldn't sleep. Tomorrow she faced Theodore Morrison in court, faced his lawyers and his money and his power, faced the possibility of losing everything. Her baby kicked, hard, insistent. I know, Becca whispered. I know you're scared too, but I promise you, I promise, I will never let them take you, never let them hurt you, never let them make you into what they wanted me to be. You're going to be free, even if it costs me everything. The baby kicked again, like she understood, like she was saying fight, like she was saying we're in this together. Mother and daughter against a billionaire family, against impossible odds, but together, always together. The courthouse at 8 in the morning was already crowded, not with normal people, with reporters, cameras everywhere, news vans, journalists with microphones, all waiting for one story, billionaire family versus pregnant school teacher. The David and Goliath narrative, the powerful versus the powerless, the story that sold papers and generated clicks and made careers. Marcus had leaked everything. Becca stared at the crowd. You told them. Every single one. Sent them copies of Valerie's statement, Dr. Rothstein's medical evidence, Theodore's script, everything. Marcus smiled, cold, satisfied. Theodore Morrison built his empire in the shadows. Time to drag him into the light. See how well his money works when everyone's watching. Theodore arrived with 8 lawyers, black SUVs, security detail, the full show of power and intimidation. His face was murderous when he saw the press. His lead attorney immediately approached the courthouse steps, started demanding the reporters be removed, threatening lawsuits, citing privacy concerns. The reporters didn't move. This was public record, a custody hearing. The people had a right to know. Grant arrived separately, alone, no lawyers, no father. He looked lost, confused, like he'd woken up in the middle of a nightmare and couldn't find his way out. For a moment, Becca felt sorry for him. He was weak, controlled, a puppet with his father pulling the strings. He probably never wanted any of this, never wanted to hurt her, never wanted to be part of Theodore's plan. But he went along with it. He sent Valerie. He lied to protect his father. He chose Theodore over Becca and their baby. That made him guilty too. Inside the courtroom, Judge Stevenson looked at the crowd with distaste. This is a family matter. I don't appreciate it being turned into a media circus. With respect, Your Honor, Marcus stood. This stopped being a family matter when Theodore Morrison conspired to assault a pregnant woman, when he attempted to cover up attempted murder, when he tried to steal a child to maintain his business empire. The public has a right to know what kind of man sits on hospital boards and charity foundations. Theodore's lawyer objected, loudly. These are wild accusations, unsubstantiated, slanderous. My client is a respected businessman, philanthropist. He's being targeted by a mentally unstable woman who refuses to accept responsibility for her own reckless behavior. Mentally unstable? Marcus pulled out documents. Mrs. Morrison has been evaluated by 3 independent psychiatrists in the past 72 hours. All found her completely stable, rational, suffering from normal pregnancy stress, exacerbated by assault and trauma, not mental illness. Trauma. There's a difference. He handed the reports to the judge. Furthermore, we have medical evidence. Dr. Ellen Rothstein, board-certified OB/GYN with 20 years experience, will testify that Mrs. Morrison's injuries are consistent with assault, not a fall. Assault. The bruising pattern shows clear handprint marks. Someone pushed her. Hard. With intent. Dr. Rothstein took the stand. Professional, calm, unshakable. She showed the photographs. Enlarged. Detailed. The handprint on Becca's shoulder blade was undeniable. 5 fingers, palm, pressure points, force indicators. The courtroom gasped. Even the judge leaned forward. Theodore's lawyer tried to discredit her. Dr. Rothstein, isn't it true that Morrison Industries donated $5 million to your hospital last year? Yes. And aren't you concerned that testifying against Mr. Morrison might affect future donations? No, I'm concerned that not testifying might let a criminal escape justice. Money doesn't change medicine. It doesn't change facts. It doesn't change the oath I took to protect my patients. Dr. Rothstein looked directly at Theodore. I've delivered 3 babies in the Morrison wing. I know how the family operates, but I also know the difference between an accidental fall and an assault. This was assault. Next, Detective Sarah Brennan testified, off-duty, on the record, about her sister, about the pattern, about rich men who think money makes them untouchable. 16 years ago, my sister fell downstairs after confronting her married lover's wife. Case closed in 2 days. Accident. No investigation. No justice. That lover was a wealthy real estate developer. Friends with the mayor. Donations to the police benevolent fund. My sister and her unborn baby died. He's now a senator. The courtroom went silent. I can't prove what happened then. I was young, naive. I didn't understand how power works. But I understand now. And when Becca Morrison was pushed downstairs by a billionaire's employee on a billionaire's orders, I saw history repeating. I refused to let it happen again. Theodore's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. A tragic story, but it has nothing to do with... It has everything to do with this, Sarah interrupted. Because Valerie Cross confessed, recorded confession. She admitted Theodore Morrison threatened her mother, ordered her to threaten Mrs. Morrison. And when that escalated to assault, Theodore said if Mrs. Morrison died, everyone's problems would be solved. He wanted her dead. Marcus called Valerie to the stand. She walked up slowly, terrified, shaking, but determined. She told everything. The threats to her mother, Theodore's orders, the script he'd written for her to use against Becca, the plan to make Becca look unstable, the pattern of other assistants who'd disappeared or died or been destroyed. Did you push Rebecca Morrison down the hospital stairs? Yes. The simple answer, no justification, just fact. Because Theodore Morrison threatened my mother. She's in a memory care facility. He pays for it. $11,000 a month. He told me if I didn't handle Mrs. Morrison, my mother would be moved to a state facility. Have you ever seen those places? They're death sentences. So I did what he told me. I went to scare her, to threaten her, to make her accept the settlement and leave. And what happened? She got angry. She moved toward me. I panicked. I pushed her. She fell. 12 stairs. I watched her fall, and I ran. I called Theodore, told him what happened. He said good. He said if she died, it solved everything. But she didn't die. So he blamed me, said I was sloppy, said I needed to fix it or he'd kill me too. The courtroom erupted. Judge Stevenson pounded his gavel. Order, order. Theodore stood, face red, furious. This is absurd. I'm a philanthropist, a businessman. This woman is clearly... Sit down, Mr. Morrison, the judge said, cold, sharp. You'll have your chance to speak through your attorney. Like everyone else, Theodore's lawyer stood, tried to discredit Valerie. You're facing criminal charges. You'll say anything to get a deal. I'm facing charges I confess to at significant personal risk. I could have stayed silent. Let Mrs. Morrison fight alone. Let Theodore frame her as unstable and take her baby. But I didn't, because I've seen what Theodore Morrison does to people who become inconvenient. I've seen the pattern, and I refuse to be part of it anymore. Marcus introduced phone records, text messages, financial documents. Theodore paying for Valerie's mother's care, buying her a Mercedes, creating hotel charges and jewelry purchases to fake an affair between Valerie and Grant. Theodore Morrison didn't just threaten two women. He orchestrated an elaborate fraud, staged an affair that never happened, framed his daughter-in-law as unstable, attempted to have her killed, and when that failed, tried to steal her child. This isn't a custody dispute. This is attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud. And the court needs to protect Mrs. Morrison and her baby from this family. Judge Stevenson called a recess. In the hallway, reporters swarmed. Theodore's lawyers tried to push through, failed. The cameras caught everything. Grant approached Becca. His lawyers tried to stop him. He pushed past them. Becca, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know Dad was planning. You knew Valerie was at the hospital. You knew she was threatening me. You knew and you lied. Dad said she was just going to talk to you, convince you to accept the settlement. For everyone's benefit, he said it was better for the baby. Better for you. Better for Theodore. That's what you mean. Everything is always better for Theodore. Becca stepped closer. I'm not your wife anymore, Grant. Not in any way that matters. And when our baby is born, you'll be lucky if you get supervised visitation. Because I'm going to make sure you never have the chance to let your father corrupt her the way he corrupted you. She walked away, back into the courtroom. Grant stood in the hallway, crying, lost. Judge Stevenson returned. His expression was grave. I've reviewed the evidence, medical testimony, witness statements, financial records. The pattern is clear and disturbing. Mr. Theodore Morrison, you orchestrated an assault on a pregnant woman. Your employee has confessed. The evidence is overwhelming. Mrs. Morrison, your request for sole custody is granted immediately. Full custody. Mr. Grant Morrison, you are granted supervised visitation only, pending criminal investigations into your involvement. Mr. Theodore Morrison, I'm referring this matter to the district attorney's office. Charges including conspiracy to commit assault, witness tampering, obstruction of justice, and attempted murder. Theodore exploded. You can't do this. I'll have your job. Threatening a judge in open court. Excellent decision, Mr. Morrison. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Morrison from the courtroom and notify the DA about this additional threat. Bailiffs moved forward. Theodore resisted. They grabbed his arms, pulled him toward the door. Theodore Morrison, billionaire, philanthropist, power broker, leaving in handcuffs. The cameras outside caught everything. The footage would be on every news channel by noon, every website by 1, every social media platform by 2. The Morrison empire was falling, live, in public, for everyone to see. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. Marcus told Becca she didn't have to speak, didn't have to give them anything. But Becca wanted to speak, needed to. She stood on the courthouse steps, hand on her swollen stomach, cameras recording every word. My name is Rebecca Morrison. 8 months ago, I married a man I loved. 6 months ago, I got pregnant with our child. 2 weeks ago, I was pushed down hospital stairs by my husband's assistant, acting on orders from my father-in-law, who wanted me dead so he could control his heir and grandchild. I survived because of brave women who believed me. Dr. Ellen Rothstein, Detective Sarah Brennan, my best friend Jenna Walsh, and yes, even Valerie Cross, who risked everything to tell the truth. Theodore Morrison's empire was built on silencing women, disappearing women, destroying women. But he can't silence all of us. She didn't answer questions, just walked away, hand on her stomach. baby kicking. Both of them alive. Both of them free. For now. The news coverage was relentless. 24 hours, every channel. Every website, every conversation. Morrison Industries stock dropped 30% in a day. 40 by end of week. The board called emergency meetings. Shareholders demanded answers. Business partners distanced themselves. The European merger fell apart. Grant was removed as heir apparent, suspended from all duties, banned from corporate headquarters pending investigation. Patricia Morrison filed for divorce after 36 years of marriage. The announcement came with a statement, brief, devastating. I married Theodore Morrison believing him to be a good man. I was wrong. I enabled his cruelty through my silence. I looked away when I should have seen. I convinced myself that Becca wasn't right for our family, but Theodore was destroying our family, and I can no longer be part of that destruction. She visited Becca 3 days after the hearing, alone. No lawyers, no entourage, just an older woman who looked exhausted, broken. I don't expect forgiveness, Patricia said. She stood in Jenna's living room, didn't sit, didn't stay long. I knew Theodore was controlling, manipulative, cruel in business, but I didn't think he'd hurt family. Hurt you, hurt his own grandchild. I was a fool. Why are you here? Because you're carrying my grandchild, and I want the chance to know her. Not raise her, not control her, just be a grandmother, if you'll allow it, if you can ever trust me enough. Becca studied her mother-in-law, this woman who'd made every family dinner uncomfortable, who'd criticized every choice, who'd looked down on Becca's teaching career and modest background and lack of connections. This woman was also a victim, an older version of what Becca might have become, compliant, silent, looking away from evil because acknowledging it meant confronting it. Supervised visits after the baby is born. We'll see how it goes. Patricia nodded. No argument, no demands. Thank you. That's more than I deserve. She left. Theodore was indicted on multiple charges. Conspiracy to commit assault, witness tampering, obstruction of justice. Attempted murder charges were still being considered. His lawyers were the best money could buy, but the evidence was overwhelming. The trial wouldn't happen for months, maybe years. But he was out on bail, $10 million, ankle monitor, travel restrictions, but still free, still dangerous. Becca moved into a small apartment, 2 bedrooms, walking distance from her school. Jenna helped her move. Sarah helped. Marcus helped. Her chosen family. The nursery was painted yellow, neutral, peaceful, a crib from a second-hand store, clothes from Target, toys from yard sales, nothing expensive, nothing from the Morrisons, everything earned, everything clean. She returned to teaching. 3 weeks before her due date, her students had made a banner. Welcome back, Ms. Morrison, later changed to Ms. Becca at her request. She couldn't look at the name Morrison without thinking of Theodore. She'd change her name after the baby came. Go back to her maiden name. Collins, Rebecca Collins. Start fresh, build new. The baby came 3 weeks early. Labor started at midnight, fast, intense, painful. Jenna drove her to the hospital, called everyone, Marcus, Sarah, Dr. Rothstein. Grant was allowed in the delivery room. The custody agreement specified he could be present for the birth, with supervision. A court-appointed monitor sat in the corner, taking notes, making sure nothing happened. Grant held Becca's hand through contractions, didn't speak, just held on, his face wet with tears. I'm sorry, he whispered during a brief pause between contractions. I'm so sorry, for everything. I was weak. I let Dad control me, control everything. I should have protected you, should have chosen you. I failed. I failed you and I failed our baby. Becca couldn't respond. Another contraction hit, consuming. The baby was coming, fast, too fast. Dr. Rothstein was calm, professional. You're doing great, Becca. Almost there. One more push. One more. The baby came in a rush, crying immediately, loud, angry, alive. It's a girl, Dr. Rothstein announced. Perfect, healthy, beautiful. A girl. Becca had known somehow, had felt it. This baby was a fighter, a survivor, like her mother. Her name is Emma, Becca said. Emma Sarah Morrison. Later, Emma Sarah Collins. Sarah for the detective who'd saved them, who'd refused to let history repeat. Grant held his daughter for 10 minutes, crying the whole time, whispering apologies, promises, things he'd probably never keep but meant in the moment. Then the monitor said his time was up. He had to leave. Supervised visitation meant limited time. Strict rules, no exceptions. He kissed Emma's forehead, handed her back to Becca, left without arguing. In the private room, Jenna and Sarah visited, brought flowers, balloons, more baby clothes than one infant could possibly need. You did it, Jenna said. You survived. You won. Did I? Becca looked at Emma sleeping in her arms, so tiny, so vulnerable, so perfect. Theodore's out on bail. His lawyers are already filing appeals. Grant gets visitation rights. And I'm a single mother making $48,000 a year trying to raise a baby alone. 54,000, Marcus said. He'd arrived with paperwork, always paperwork. Your settlement from Morrison Industries. Grant signed over everything. His trust fund, his inheritance, his shares in the company, all to you and Emma. Theodore contested it. The board overruled him. They want distance from the scandal. Paying you off is cheaper than the lawsuits and bad publicity. Becca stared at the numbers. $7 million, immediate payment, plus trusts that matured at different intervals, plus shares in Morrison Industries that could be worth hundreds of millions eventually. I don't want his money. Then donate it, start a foundation, help other women, but take it, because it's not his money. It's your daughter's future, your security, your freedom from ever having to depend on anyone again. Freedom. The words settled into Becca's bones. Real, solid, permanent. She signed the papers. That night, alone with Emma, Becca finally let herself process everything. The threat, the push, the fall, the battle, the victory. She'd fought a billionaire and won. Not perfectly, not without talent, but she'd won. Theodore Morrison lost his company, his reputation, his freedom, his family. Everything, and Becca gained everything that mattered. Her daughter, her safety, her truth. Emma made tiny baby sounds. Becca lifted her from the bassinet, held her close, breathed in that perfect new baby smell. Your grandfather wanted to own you, to control you, to make you into another Morrison heir, another piece in his empire. Becca's voice was soft, certain. But you're not a Morrison, not really. You're a Collins, like me. Like your grandmother you'll never meet. You're going to grow up free, knowing your worth isn't measured in money or family name or business empires. Knowing you're valuable because you exist. Because you're you, nothing more, nothing less. Emma's eyes opened, dark blue, alert, like she understood every word. I promise you, Becca whispered. I promise, no one will ever own you, control you. You'll make your own choices, build your own life, be your own person. That's my gift to you. Freedom, always in freedom. Emma yawned, closed her eyes, drifted back to sleep. Becca held her through the night, not sleeping, just holding, protecting, loving. This tiny human, this perfect person, this daughter who would never know the fear her mother had lived through. That was winning, that was everything. 6 months passed. Emma was sitting up now, grabbing everything, laughing constantly. She had Grant's dark eyes, Becca's stubborn chin, her own personality. Strong, opinionated, loud when she wanted something, silent when she was concentrating. She was perfect. The trial was set to begin in 3 weeks. Theodore's lawyers had filed 73 motions, all denied. The evidence was too strong, the witnesses too credible. The public pressure, too intense. Theodore would go to prison. The question was for how long. Grant visited twice a week, supervised visits at a family center. He brought books, toys, sat on the floor and played with Emma, made her laugh, made her smile, was a decent father when someone was watching. He'd started therapy, real therapy, not Theodore's approved therapist who'd enabled his weakness for years, someone independent. Someone who called him on his lies and excuses and failures. I'm trying, he told Becca one visit, to be better, to be honest, to be someone Emma can respect someday. Keep trying, that's all anyone can do. Dad wants to see her, Emma, before the trial. He says he's dying, liver cancer, stage 4, 6 months maybe, less. Becca felt nothing. No sympathy, no anger, just emptiness where Theodore Morrison used to occupy space in her mind. No, he's dying. He tried to have me killed. He terrorized Valerie. He destroyed lives for business deals. He's a monster who happens to be dying. That doesn't make him less monstrous. Grant nodded, didn't argue. I understand. I'm sorry for asking. After he left, Jenna arrived. She was dating Sarah now, officially. They'd moved in together 2 months ago, built a life, found happiness in the rubble of Theodore's destruction. How's the foundation? Jenna asked. The Rebecca Collins Foundation for Women's Safety, launched 4 months ago, funded entirely by the Morrison settlement, helped women escape powerful abusers, paid for lawyers, safe housing, new identities when necessary, protection, 47 women so far, 47 lives saved, 47 families protected. Growing, we hired 4 new staff members last week, opened a second safe house in the next county. Applications are coming in faster than we can process them. Turns out there are a lot of powerful men who think they can hurt women without consequences. And now there are consequences. Now there are consequences. Valerie ran the foundation's victim services department. She was good at it, understanding, patient, non-judgmental. She knew what desperation felt like, what impossible choices looked like, what survival cost. Her mother had died 3 months ago, peacefully, in the good facility, no pain, no fear, just sleep. Valerie had mourned, grieved, then thrown herself into the work. She saved me, Valerie told Becca once. Your willingness to see me as a victim too, to offer alliance instead of revenge. I don't deserve it, but I'm trying to earn it. Every woman we help, every life we save. That's me trying to earn what you gave me. Emma knocked over her block tower, laughed hysterically. The pure joy of a baby who'd never known fear, never known violence, never known Theodore Morrison. Do you think about it? Jenna asked. The push, the fall, what almost happened. Every day, every time I look at Emma, we almost didn't make it. Inches, seconds, different choices by different people. Dr. Rothstein documenting evidence. You calling Sarah, Valerie breaking, Marcus fighting, any of those things don't happen and I'm dead or Emma's a Morrison or we're both disappeared. But you did make it. We made it. Becca thought about that. Made it, survived, won. The words felt both true and incomplete. She'd survived attempted murder. Won custody, protected Emma, built a foundation, changed lives. But she also woke up at 3 in the morning checking locks, jumped at sudden sounds, saw Theodore's face in nightmares, lived with the knowledge that a man tried to have her killed and might have succeeded with slightly different circumstances. Trauma didn't disappear just because you survived it. I'm proud of you, Jenna said quietly, in case I don't say it enough. I'm so proud of who you are, what you've built, how you've turned horror into help. I'm trying to make meaning from it. Turn Theodore's evil into something good. Use his money to help people he would have destroyed. That's the only revenge that feels right. Not hurting him, helping others, making his legacy be the opposite of everything he stood for. Marcus arrived with news. Theodore accepted a plea deal, pleads guilty to all charges. 20 years, no parole, in exchange for dropping appeals that could drag on for years. Why would he accept that? He could afford to fight for decades. Because he's dying. Because 20 years is life anyway for a 62-year-old man with stage 4 cancer. And because, Marcus hesitated, he's liquidating all assets, every penny, setting up irrevocable trusts. For Emma, Becca's blood went cold. No, we don't want his money. We don't want anything from him. And you don't have a choice. The trusts are already established. Irrevocable means unchangeable. Amoa will have access when she turns 18, whether you accept it or not. He's ensuring his legacy survives through his grandchild. Control from beyond the grave. even dying, even imprisoned. Theodore was still manipulating, still trying to own them. How much? $1.3 billion. Morrison Industries shares, real estate, investments, everything. It all goes to Emma at 18. With conditions, she must maintain the Morrison name, must be educated about the family business, must serve on the foundation board, must, absolutely not. I'll fight this. Break the trusts. Emma won't be controlled by a dead man's money. You can't break them, but there's a provision. If Emma rejects the inheritance at 18, it all goes to the Rebecca Collins Foundation. Every penny. Your foundation would be worth over $1 billion. You could help thousands of women, maybe tens of thousands, save lives on a scale you've never imagined. The manipulation was masterful. Accept the blood money and let Emma be controlled by Theodore's conditions. Or reject it and use it to help others, but let Theodore's money define the foundation's future either way. He wins no matter what. I hate him. Good, hate him. Use that hate. Cash his checks. Help women with his money. Turn his evil into good. Make his name synonymous with helping women escape powerful men. That's the revenge billionaires fear most. Being forgotten, being redefined, having their legacy become the opposite of everything they stood for. Becca looked at Emma, 6 months old, innocent, perfect. She'd have choices at 18, real choices, accept a fortune with strings attached, or reject it and fund a foundation that saved lives. Either way, she'd have power. Options, freedom. Fine, we'll take the money. Manage it until Emma's 18. Then she decides. But until then, she grows up knowing exactly who Theodore Morrison was. Not a philanthropist, not a business genius, a monster who tried to kill her mother, a man who destroyed lives for profit, and his money is just restitution for what he tried to take. 3 months later, Theodore Morrison died in prison, liver failure, alone. No family visits, no last words, no redemption. Grant told Becca during a supervised visit, he was crying. She felt nothing. Do you want to go to the funeral? There isn't one. He requested cremation. No service. No memorial. Just gone. Gone. Like he'd wanted Becca to be. Erased. Forgotten. Vanished. Instead, he was the one who disappeared. And Becca was still here. Emma was here. The foundation was saving lives. Theodore's money was helping the women he would have destroyed. I'm sorry you lost your father. I lost him a long time ago. Maybe never had him. He loved control more than people, power more than family, the empire more than his son. Grant looked at Emma playing with blocks. I want to be better than him. For her. But I don't know how. Don't know who I am without him telling me. Then figure it out. That's what the rest of us do. We figure out who we are, who we want to be, without billion-dollar empires or family names or father's approval. Just ourselves. It's hard, it's scary, but it's the only way to actually live. After he left, Becca took Emma to the park. Spring day, flowers blooming, children playing, normal life. A woman approached, hesitant, nervous. You're Rebecca Collins, the foundation. You helped me leave my husband. He's a CEO, powerful, connected. I thought I'd never escape. But your lawyers, your safe house. You saved my life. You saved my daughters. The woman was crying, grateful, free. What's your name? Michelle Brennan. No relation to Detective Brennan, but I kept the name anyway. It feels like armor now, like protection. They talked for 20 minutes about escape, about healing, about building new lives from ashes, about freedom. When Michelle left, Becca sat on a bench, Emma in her lap, watching children play. She thought about the stairwell, Valerie's push, the fall, the moment she thought she'd die. She thought about the hospital, Dr. Rothstein's evidence, the handprint that saved her life. She thought about the custody battle, the exposure, the trial, the victory, and she thought about now Emma healthy, foundation thriving, Theodore dead, Grant healing slowly, Patricia trying to be better, Valerie building redemption one saved life at a time. Did we win? She whispered to Emma. Emma grabbed her face, babbled, laughed. Yes, they won. Not perfectly, not without scars, not without mom. But they won. Emma's first birthday party was small. Jenna's apartment. Balloons, cake, the people who mattered. Jenna and Sarah, Marcus and his wife, Dr. Rothstein, Valerie, a few teachers from Becca's school, Emma's babysitter, the families of 3 women the foundation had helped. No Morrisons. Grant sent a gift, a college fund, $50,000. Guilty money. Becca accepted debt. For Emma, not for Grant. Patricia sent a card, asked to visit. Becca hadn't decided yet. Maybe. Someday. When the wounds were less raw, Emma destroyed her birthday cake, got frosting everywhere, laughed the whole time. Pure joy, pure innocence, pure freedom. This was what Becca had fought for. This moment, this child, this life. The foundation had helped 93 women now, 93 lives saved, 93 families protected. The number grew every week. Valerie had expanded the program, added job training, therapy services, legal advocacy, child care, housing assistance. Everything a woman needed to escape and rebuild. We're making a difference, Valerie told Becca one afternoon. They were reviewing applications, deciding which cases were most urgent, which women needed help immediately. Every woman we help, every life we save. That's Theodore Morrison's money being used to destroy everything he stood for. That's justice. That's revenge, Becca corrected. The best kind. The kind that actually helps people. Sarah had been promoted, headed a task force investigating wealthy abusers, corporate executives, politicians, anyone who thought power made them untouchable. She'd arrested 4 men in 6 months, all connected to the Morrison case, all part of the same network of privilege and abuse. They thought they were protected, Sarah said, thought their money would save them. It didn't. Money's a tool. Justice is a choice. We're choosing justice. Jenna was planning a wedding, small ceremony, just close friends. She'd asked Becca to be her maid of honor. Becca had cried. Happy tears, grateful tears, tears for the friend who'd never given up on her farm. Marcus was teaching law school now, a class on representing abuse victims, how to fight power, how to protect the vulnerable, how to win against impossible odds. He used Becca's case as primary study material. You changed the law, he told her. Precedent now, medical evidence of assault, pattern of behavior, conspiracy charges against wealthy defendants. Courts cite your case. Lawyers reference your story. You made it easier for the next woman. And the next. Grant was still in therapy, still trying to figure out who he was without Theodore. He'd started volunteering at a men's center, teaching other men about accountability, about change, about breaking cycles of abuse. I'll never be strong, he admitted to Becca during one visit. Not like you, not like Sarah or Jenna or Valerie, but maybe I can be honest. Maybe I can help other weak men become less weak. That's something. That's something, Becca agreed. Emma was walking now, stumbling, falling, getting back up, determined, stubborn. Just like her mother, she'd grow up knowing her story, knowing what her mother survived, knowing what her grandfather tried to do. But she'd also grow up knowing she was loved, protected, free. At 18, she'd inherit a fortune, or donate it all. Her choice. Either way, she'd have power, options, the ability to shape her own future. That was the gift Becca had fought for. Not money, not revenge, freedom, choice, power over her own life. One afternoon, Becca was cleaning out old boxes, found her wedding album, photos of her and Grant, young, happy, naive. She almost threw it away, almost burned it, almost destroyed every reminder of what she'd lost. But she kept it, because it was part of her story, part of Emma's story, the beautiful lie that led to terrible truth that led to hard-won freedom. You couldn't appreciate the freedom without remembering the captivity, couldn't understand the victory without remembering the battle, couldn't know who you'd become without remembering who you'd been. Emma crawled into her lap, grabbed the wedding photo. Mama. Yes, baby. That's Mama, young and stupid and hopeful. But you know what? I'm glad I was all those things, because they led me to you. Emma smiled, tore the photo in half, laughed. You're right, Becca said. That marriage is over. That person is gone. We're someone new now. She threw away the torn photo, kept the album. Memories weren't the enemy, pretending they didn't exist was. That night, after Emma was asleep, Becca stood on her balcony. Small apartment, modest life, everything she'd built herself. No Morrison money except what she'd won. No Morrison name except what Emma would carry until she chose otherwise. No Morrison control, ever again. The city lights spread below. Millions of people, millions of stories. Some of them probably similar to hers, powerful men, threatened women, systems designed to protect wealth instead of justice. But things were changing, slowly, imperfectly, but changing. Her foundation was part of that change. Every woman they helped, every abuser they exposed, every precedent they set. Small victories, building toward bigger change. Theodore Morrison had tried to kill her. Instead, he'd created his own destruction, built the weapon that destroyed his legacy, funded the foundation that helped the women he would have buried. That was poetry. That was justice. That was revenge. Becca's phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. She almost deleted it, almost ignored it, almost let it go. But she read it. Mrs. Collins, you don't know me, but I'm a junior executive at Morrison Industries. I've been watching what you did, how you fought, how you won. My boss has been harassing me for months. I thought I had no options, no power, no way out. But you proved that's not true. I'm filing charges tomorrow, using your case as precedent. I wanted you to know. You saved my life without even knowing my name. Thank you. Becca stared at the message. Another woman finding courage. Another abuser facing consequences. Another victory in the long war for justice. She texted back, "You're brave, you're strong. You've got this. Call the foundation if you need anything. Lawyers, safe housing, support. We're here." The response came immediately. "Thank you, I will." Becca put her phone down, looked at the city, thought about all the women out there, fighting, surviving, winning. She was one of them now, not a victim, not anymore. A survivor, a fighter, a woman who had faced a billionaire's empire and won. The lavender scent hit her first, not from memory, from the bouquet on her kitchen counter. Valerie had sent it that morning with a note. "Thank you for seeing the person I could become instead of the weapon he made me. Thank you for offering alliance instead of revenge. Thank you for saving my life. Every woman we help is my way of earning what you gave me. Every abuser we expose is my way of fighting back. Every day I'm alive and free is because you chose mercy over justice and proved mercy could be justice. Thank you." Becca smelled the lavender. The scent that used to mean fear, used to mean Valerie, used to mean the moment her life changed forever. Now it meant survival, meant women refusing to disappear, meant the beginning of something Theodore Morrison never imagined possible. A world where his power meant nothing and their truth meant everything. Emma made a sound from her crib, not crying, just talking to herself. The babbling half-words of a 1-year-old discovering language. Becca checked on her. Emma was sitting up, playing with her stuffed bear. Content, safe, free. "You know what, baby girl? We made it. We survived. We won. Not perfectly, not without scars, not without cost. But we won, and that's enough. That's everything." Emma looked at her, smiled, went back to playing. Becca stood in the doorway, watching her daughter, this perfect human, this survivor, this free spirit who would never be owned or controlled or used. Theodore Morrison had tried to erase them. Instead, he'd created something unstoppable. A mother who wouldn't quit, a daughter who'd grow up fearless, a foundation that saved lives, a precedent that protected women, a story that inspired others to fight. He pushed her down the stairs expecting her to break. Instead, she built a stairway to freedom for thousands. That was winning. That was justice. That was the end of one story and the beginning of another. And Becca was ready for whatever came next. Because she'd fought a billionaire and won. Because she'd turned his evil into good. because she'd proven that some people can't be bought or broken or silenced because she was free. Finally, completely, permanently free. And that made everything worth it. The hospital corridor smelled like antiseptic and expensive perfume. Becca Morrison, 8 months pregnant, was about to learn three things that would destroy her world. One, her husband's assistant wasn't just an assistant. Two, her billionaire father-in-law didn't want a daughter-in-law. He wanted an incubator, one that would disappear after delivery. And three, that 12-stair drop she was standing at the top of, someone was about to make sure she took it. The hard way. What happened in the next 60 seconds should have killed her heroine, should have killed her baby, should have ended with a tragic accident, a grieving widow husband, and a billionaire quietly taking custody of his grandchild. Should have. But Becca Morrison survived. And survival? That was the worst thing that could have happened to the Morrison family. Because now she knows. Now she has evidence. Now she's angry. And there's nothing more dangerous than a mother fighting for her child against a family that thinks money makes them invincible. This is going to be a 90-minute journey. Buckle up. It's going to get intense. And if you're the kind of person who loves watching the underdog destroy the untouchable, you're in the right place. Stay with me, because this story, it's just getting started.